I believe we are all doing good. So, the last time we stopped on, me losing my child and everything, and life continued. But I started noticing that there are certain things happening, like my utterances. Whatsoever I say out of anger comes to pass. It's not just all about what I see or what I dream of, but anything I say out of anger comes to pass. Because after losing my child, some months after losing my child, a friend of mine, from what I heard from a reliable source, said something against me. This person, she's actually not my friend. She's a wife to one of my uncles. Okay, so she came to my house when my child was still with me, together with the husband, who is my uncle. And then I brought out the child for them to see, and I placed the child in my uncle's arms. And after, my uncle handed the child over to her. So later, when they went back home, I heard that she cried throughout that day because they've been married for years without any issue. I heard that she cried and she said that it is because she's childless. That was the reason why I didn't give her the child first. Instead, I gave the child to my uncle. I didn't give her the child because I don't know her. I only know her as my uncle's wife. So my uncle was the person I gave my child to because I know him. Okay. So when my child passed away, I heard that she went home that day. She was jubilating. She was rejoicing. She was so happy that the child that I've been bragging about with is no longer with me. So when I heard that, it really disturbed me. I felt so bad. I cried throughout that day. So what I did was I went to the chapel. I knelt down before the Blessed Sacrament and I prayed in tears, and I told God that if I had done something bad to this girl and she said something like this, then so be it. But if I am innocent of that accusation, and if everything I heard was true, may she never hear the cry of a baby in her life. And not just that, let the husband throw her out from that matrimonial home. And I said this out of anger. Concluded my prayers and I left. And everything came to pass. She didn't even take in for once, not to talk of having a miscarriage. And then, after, like 2 years, 3 years after the incidents of me losing my child, my uncle decided to divorce her. Finally, completely. So she went her way. My uncle had to remarry. So when I heard that thing, I remembered what I said. I felt bad for saying that because I never meant it with all my heart. I just said it out of anger without knowing that it will happen. Now, I equally remembered something else when my baby was sick, when I took my baby to that pediatrician whose wife instructed him not to open the gates for me. On the day that my baby passed away, out of anger, I visited that pediatrician's house and I knelt down before his gate. And I pray that if I am serving a living God, they will never hear the cry of a baby in their house. And from what I heard, this pediatrician is married for years without a single child. When I gave birth to my daughter, after some months, babies, they will always fall sick. My daughter had catarrh and she was 5 months old then. So I took my daughter to that pediatrician's house. I couldn't even remember the place anymore. It was my sister that took me there. So when we got there, I told my sister that I've been here before. And she reminded me of the place. I wanted to go back and she said no, that he's a very good pediatrician, that he knows what he's doing. So the pediatrician handled my baby, gently, and he's truly a professional in his field. So when I went home, it really touched me when I heard that they are still looking for the fruit of the womb. And I remembered what I said before their gate. So after thinking about the whole thing, I called my sister and I told her how I was feeling, and I told her everything that happened. So my sister pleaded with me and told me to go back to that gate and, you know, cancel whatever I said earlier. So I went on a Sunday, but I noticed that he has actually started seeing patients on Sundays. So what I did was to just stay a bit far away from the house, and I knelt down on the road and I prayed to God. I told God to bless that couple with the number of children that he wishes to, that I am canceling every curse that I have laid on them, that I laid that curse out of anger, that it wasn't actually my intention. And I pleaded for forgiveness for ever laying a curse on my fellow human being. So after that, I left. 1 year after, my sister called me and told me that the doctor and the wife welcomed twins, a boy and a girl. And I was so happy. It looks as if the twins were mine. I was so happy, and I thank God. So ever since then, if ever there is anything that will make me to lay a curse on anybody, it shouldn't be based on what you say to me, but it has to be something so grievous. Yes, I am a human being. I am not God that will forgive and forget everything. I am a human being. You cannot tamper with the life of my family member and you ask me to just forgive and forget just like that. No, please, don't go there. I'm a human being. So I'm going to continue to tell you guys how everything started, because my daughter happened to be my last child. So I'm going to tell you guys how everything started, all right? After my last child. See you next time. Bye-bye.